Have you ever caught yourself wondering, why does getting older feel heavier than I expected? Not just in the knees or the back, but in the heart, the energy, even the will to greet the day? You're not alone. Aging isn't just about time passing. It's about how we live through that time, especially after 70. And here's the surprising truth. It's not always the big things that shape our health in our 80s and beyond. Sometimes, it's the small habits we carry quietly, the ones we barely notice, that have the biggest impact on how long and how well we live. You see, most of us have been told that aging gracefully is about luck, genes, or maybe a good diet and some daily walking. While those things do matter, there's another layer underneath, a more subtle truth. Certain everyday habits, things we've grown used to, can actually speed up decline, and we don't even realize it's happening. Until one day, we look around and feel like the light inside us has dimmed. But here's the good news. You can make a change, right now. No matter your age or your aches, you have the power to shift course and breathe new energy into your years ahead. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 everyday habits that can quietly chip away at your health after 80, and what you can do to fix them before it's too late. Let's start with the first one. It's something almost everyone does, especially as we get older. Spending too much time. Sitting still. Now, don't get me wrong. Rest is important. We've all earned our share of quiet mornings and peaceful afternoons. But there's a fine line between resting and staying still too long. That line is easy to cross without even knowing it. You wake up, maybe have breakfast while watching TV, then a little reading in the recliner. Later, lunch, a nap, maybe more TV or computer time. Before you know it, you've been sitting for most of the day. And even if your mind feels alert, your body is slowly forgetting how to move. Here's the truth most people don't talk about. The body isn't designed to stay still for hours on end, especially as we age. Muscles start to atrophy. Circulation slows down. Your joints stiffen. Even your digestion weakens. And the worst part? Your brain gets less stimulation when your body's not moving, which can quietly drain your motivation, your memory, and your mood. I once met a gentleman named Mr. Bao, a retired school teacher in his 80s. He used to walk every day, greet neighbors, visit the market on foot. But after a minor fall, his children encouraged him to just rest. Weeks turned into months. His legs weakened, his back stiffened. But what truly faded was his spark. He no longer felt connected to the day. The world seemed farther away, not because it changed, but because he stopped moving through it. If this sounds familiar, here's what you can do. Don't think about exercise in the formal sense. Think about movement as nourishment. Start small, 5 minutes of light stretching in the morning. Walk to the mailbox. Take a stroll down the hallway. Do some gentle arm circles while waiting for your tea to steep. Every tiny movement reminds your body that it's still needed. The goal isn't to push yourself. The goal is to stay connected to gravity, to rhythm, to the world around you. Because the less you move, the faster you fade. But the more you move, gently, consistently, the more life you invite back in. Now, let's look at the second habit, one that sneaks up on us even faster than inactivity. Letting the day lose its shape. Have you ever noticed that some days just seem to blur into the next? You wake up when you feel like it. You eat whenever. There's no plan, no anchor, no reason to say, today is different from yesterday. It might feel like freedom at first, but over time, that lack of rhythm can quietly drain your energy and spirit. You see, our bodies and minds thrive on structure. We don't need tight schedules or alarms, but we do need purpose, something to do, a reason to get up, to get dressed, to step outside, even if it's just to water a plant or greet the sun. Without that, the days become quieter. The motivation shrinks. And when the day has no shape, The soul begins to feel a little lost. I knew a woman named Auntie Lynn, 85, who used to care for her grandchildren every weekday. When they grew up and moved away, her days suddenly had no shape. She had time, yes, but no rhythm. Slowly, her energy waned. She stopped cooking, stopped calling friends. "I don't know what I'm supposed to do anymore," she told me one day. The truth is, we all need something to hold on to, even if it's small. Something to expect, something to accomplish, something to enjoy. It could be as simple as journaling each morning, feeding the birds, calling a friend every Friday, or tending a tiny balcony garden. When your day has rhythm, your body follows, your appetite returns, your sleep improves, your mood lifts, and your heart starts to feel connected again, to time, to purpose, to life. So if you've been waking up without a plan, if your days feel like they're just passing by, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what can I do today that gives this day meaning?
It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be yours. Maybe it's a quiet walk around your block. Maybe it's making soup and sharing it with a neighbor. Maybe it's writing a letter to your younger self, telling them how far you've come. That act of intention, that decision to shape the day, is more powerful than most medications. And if you're still here watching this, I want to thank you. It means you care about your future. You're not just letting life happen to you, you're choosing to stay involved. And that choice alone, that's a habit worth celebrating. Now that you've taken a moment to reflect on the habits of stillness and shapeless days, let's talk about something that might be even more invisible, but just as powerful. It's something that hides beneath the surface of many older adults' lives. You might feel it in the silence of the room, in the heaviness behind a smile, or in the echo of a memory that no longer has a place to go. I'm talking about the slow buildup of emotional weight, especially from grief, loneliness, and unspoken pain. You see, by the time we reach our 80s, most of us have loved deeply and lost deeply. A partner, a sibling, a dear friend, sometimes even a child. And as the world moves on, we're expected to keep going too. Be strong, they say. Time heals. And so, we carry on. But that's just the thing. We carry on with it, not without it. And often, we carry it alone. This leads us into the third habit that shortens life, not just in years, but in spirit. Suppressing emotions instead of releasing them. It's not always about breaking down in tears or talking to a therapist. For many older adults, emotional suppression looks more like silence. Smiling when you don't feel like it. Saying, "I'm fine," when you're not. Keeping the radio on during dinner so the room doesn't feel too quiet. You convince yourself that you're over it, that you've accepted the loss, but your body tells another story. Because unexpressed grief doesn't vanish. It stores itself deep in the nervous system. It tightens your chest. It wears down your immune system. It slows digestion. It clouds your thoughts. And most importantly, it quietly dulls your joy. I once met an elderly man named George, 86, who had lost his wife of over 50 years. He didn't cry. He didn't talk about her. He didn't bring her up. People assumed he had handled it well. But within a year, his doctor noticed a steep drop in energy, appetite, and sleep. Not from illness, from grief that had nowhere to go. Here's the truth. The body needs emotional ventilation, just like the lungs need air. Whether it's sadness, anger, confusion, or longing, these are not signs of weakness. They are signs that you're still human, still deeply connected to love and memory. And if you want to live, not just survive after 80, you need to create space to feel again. Maybe that means journaling at night, writing letters you'll never send. Maybe it's a quiet conversation with a trusted friend. Maybe it's simply allowing yourself to sit with a photograph and feel whatever comes up, without judgment or timeline. When emotion moves through the body, it leaves room for peace to enter. But when it's buried, it festers. And no one,
No matter how old, deserves to carry silent sorrow alone. So ask yourself, what have I not allowed myself to feel lately? That simple question might open a door you didn't know was still locked, and behind that door, relief, clarity, maybe even joy. Now let's move to another habit that often feels innocent, even comforting at first. But over time, it slowly chips away at your vitality. Spending most of your day indoors, away from natural light. It's easy to do, especially when your mobility changes or when the weather doesn't cooperate. The couch is close, the kitchen is nearby, the television is friendly. And before you know it, days go by without stepping outside. But here's the thing. Your body doesn't just run on food or water or medicine. It runs on light. Real light. The kind that filters through trees, warms your skin, and signals your brain that the day has begun. Natural daylight plays a critical role in maintaining your circadian rhythm. Your internal body clock that tells you when to wake, when to rest, when to digest, and even when to heal. After 80, this clock becomes more delicate, and if you're not exposed to enough daylight, especially in the morning, your entire system starts slipping off schedule. Sleep becomes shallow. Appetite fades. Memory fogs. You may start waking in the night and sleeping through the day. You might feel sluggish, even depressed, without knowing why. And artificial lights from screens or overhead bulbs can't replace what sunlight does naturally. There's also vitamin D to consider. As we age, our skin becomes less efficient at producing it. And without enough exposure to sunlight, our bones weaken, our muscles ache, and our immunity falters. No pill can fully replace the complex effects of simply being outdoors. I knew a woman named May, 84, who used to sit by her window every morning with a cup of tea. But one winter, her blinds stayed closed for days at a time. She started sleeping later, feeling more tired, more anxious. Her doctor ran tests, but it wasn't a new illness. It was a lack of light. A simple recommendation to spend 20 minutes outdoors each morning changed her entire energy within weeks. So if you've fallen into the habit of staying inside all day, I encourage you to shift it gently. Step out onto your porch. Sit near a sunny window. Let the light hit your skin. Let your eyes greet the sky. Even 5 minutes of morning light can help reset your internal rhythm and lift your spirit in ways no supplement can. This brings us to our next quiet habit, one that hides behind politeness and modesty. A habit that can lead to a very lonely path if left unchecked. Avoiding small social interactions. We often talk about loneliness in terms of big things, losing a spouse, children living far away, friends passing on. But there's another kind of social loss that creeps in more quietly. The disappearance of micro-interactions. I'm talking about those small moments that used to be automatic. Waving at your neighbor, chatting briefly with the cashier, asking someone how their dog is doing. These moments might seem trivial, but they are essential nutrients for your emotional and cognitive health. The human brain is wired for social connection, even short, casual ones. They activate areas related to empathy, attention, memory, and emotional regulation. When these tiny moments vanish, your world shrinks, and your sense of self begins to fade along with it. I've seen vibrant, articulate seniors slowly become withdrawn, not because they lost interest in people, but because they stopped bumping into people. Whether due to hearing loss, fear of falling, or simply staying home more often, those small threads of connection got cut. And with them went energy, alertness, even joy. So here's a gentle nudge. Don't underestimate the power of a short chat. Say hello to the delivery person. Compliment someone at the grocery store. Greet the person you see every week on your morning walk. You don't need deep conversations. You need real ones. Real enough to remind your nervous system, I'm here, I belong, I'm still part of the world. Even if you live alone, there are ways to weave these micro moments back in. Join a group call. Visit the local library. Sit outside at a cafe. It's not about quantity, it's about continuity. There's something quietly powerful that most people don't talk about after a certain age. You might not feel it in your bones or see it in the mirror, but you'll notice it in the way your days begin to feel the same. Like time is moving, but you're not moving with it. That brings us to the final habit that drains life after 80 more than most realize. Losing a sense of daily purpose. Not a grand, world-changing purpose. Not the kind they write about in memoirs or talk shows. I'm talking about the simple kind. The kind that makes you look forward to getting out of bed. That gives shape to the hours between sunrise and sunset. That brings rhythm and small meaning to your days. Purpose doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as humble as feeding the cat that waits by your door, watering your plants before the sun gets too strong, writing in your journal or watching your favorite show at the same time every afternoon. But here's the problem. When those little routines disappear, when no one's counting on you, and there's nowhere you need to be, the body listens. It starts to slow down. The mind wanders. Your appetite weakens. You sleep more, but feel less rested. You might even wonder, quietly, if anyone would notice if your schedule vanished completely. That's not just aging. That's your body asking, why are we still doing this? And it's heartbreaking because it's preventable. Let me share a story. There was a gentleman named Harold, 89 years old, lived alone, grown kids out of state. No job, no events on his calendar. But every morning, he would polish one pair of shoes. Not because he had somewhere to go, but because, for him, it was a ritual. He said it reminded him of being young when he'd shine his shoes before heading to work. It gave his morning direction. He said it made the day feel like it had somewhere to begin. That's the power of purpose. It's not always about doing more. It's about doing something that matters to you, no matter how small. Now, when people lose that sense of daily relevance, it creates a sort of emotional erosion. At first, it's subtle, a bit more sitting, a bit less talking. Then the days start to blend together. The calendar gathers dust. And one day, you wake up and feel like you're just filling time, not living it. And here's the thing most people don't realize. Purpose is biological. It lights up the brain. It regulates hormones. It supports the immune system. It lowers inflammation. In fact, studies show that people with even a small sense of purpose tend to live longer and have fewer chronic illnesses. Why? Because the body fights for what it believes in. If your days feel needed, if you believe your presence still counts, your entire system responds by staying active, responsive, alive. Now, I'm not suggesting you need to launch a project or change the world, but maybe you need to change your rhythm. Give your body and mind a reason to expect something from the day. That's all it takes. I met a woman named Irene, 90, who started each morning by writing a one-line prayer on a sticky note. Then she'd stick it to her fridge. Sometimes it was for her health, sometimes for a neighbor, sometimes for the birds in her yard. She told me, "It's silly, I know, but I feel like I'm sending out something good into the world before I even finish my tea." That's purpose. If you're not sure where to begin, ask yourself, what small thing could I do tomorrow that would give my morning some shape? What habit could I bring back, not because I have to, but because it means something? Maybe it's calling a friend on Wednesdays, or reading poetry out loud, or making soup for the freezer every Sunday. Maybe it's just putting on your favorite sweater and sitting outside to feel the air on your face. Purpose doesn't care how old you are, it only cares that you show up. And if your days have felt shapeless lately, if your evenings arrive, and you can't quite remember how you spent your morning, don't blame yourself. Just start again. Start small. And then do it again tomorrow. Because here's the truth no one tells you. The body doesn't give up first. The mind does. And the mind gives up when it feels forgotten, ignored, unnecessary. But you are none of those things. You are still here, and you still matter. Before we wrap up, let's take a breath and reflect. These 5 habits, neglecting movement, losing emotional expression, staying inside too long, avoiding small connections, and forgetting to bring shape to your day. They don't take you down all at once. They slip in quietly, one choice at a time, one missed walk, one unsaid feeling, one skipped routine. But just as easily, they can be reversed, not with big resolutions, with small returns. Return to a morning light, return to a conversation, return to movement, to meaning, to yourself. You don't need to be 30 again, you just need to feel alive again. And if you're still with me right now, I want to say something important. Thank you. Thank you for caring about your life. Thank you for being curious. Thank you for staying engaged. You've already done something powerful today by listening, and now I encourage you to act. Let me know in the comments which of these habits resonated with you most. Was there one that felt uncomfortably familiar? One that gave you a spark of motivation to shift something small tomorrow? And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It helps us reach more people just like you, who want to live not just long, but well. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you'll know when we share more gentle, uplifting advice like this. Remember, aging is inevitable. Fading is optional. You don't need to chase youth. You just need to protect the things that give your days shape, meaning, and connection. Here's to living your best life, no matter the year on your birth certificate. You're not done yet. Not by a long shot. We'll see you in the next video. Stay strong, stay kind, and above all, stay present.